Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I think you're going to like this. We have a cool one to do, which is going through some of my favorite secondaries in my collection. Now, these are all pistols, and actually I have a lot of them. This is not all of the pistols I have. It's probably around 50%, I would say. But I decided to go through, handpick some of the ones that I really like. And we'll go through each pistol, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, what the prices are, what I've done to some of them, but then also I'll give you a little shot of each one so you can see the recoil, you can get an idea of if it is something that you would like. And if you have any questions, you can put them down below and I'll try and answer absolutely every single one of them. So to kick it off, we are going to go with probably the most classic real steel pistol there is in the world right now, and one that I see non-stop on the airsoft field. So you're probably already aware of it, what it is, and you can probably see from the shape of this. This is a Glock 17. This is a Gen 4 Glock 17. Sorry, I don't know why I kind of paused on that. I saw that it was the Gen 4 with these actual little finger grips here, not the Gen 5. I do have a Gen 5 as well. But this is the Glock 17 Gen 4 and it is by Elite Force. So as I said, this is probably the most standard pistol that I'll see. They do a Gen 5 as well, which has none of the pistol grip. Sorry, the pistol holes. I keep freezing and I don't know why this happens on this computer at the moment. It has none of the pistol little ridges here, but this is the Gen 4 and it's a really, really good pistol. If you're thinking about getting an airsoft pistol, you want to do mil-sim, kind of real steel style, I would say this is a very, very good option. Elite Force, who have the licensing, so as you can see here, it has Glock there, 17 Gen 4. It's got Austria 9x19 because this is chambered in a 9mm, this specific one. And then the magazines are great, mainly because they are so interchangeable. Like you could run this pretty much off any style of Glock mag. The actual stock ones that come with these are the best for this. They have a grooved, I actually don't have one in here, but I have one in this replica, which we're not going to talk about yet. But as you can probably see here, the actual router valve on this is like a slight, it's kind of like indented. So that is the reason why it has such a good seal. So if you are going to get one of these Glock 17s, I would say probably don't skimp on the mags. Go for the mags that are actually made for this. That is if you don't have Glock mags. But if you've got a load of Glock mags lying around, this will work with all of them. Just the performance might not be there. So the cost of this is $170. So it is an expensive pistol compared to some of the others we're talking about. The real expense is the actual mags. Now these mags cost $50 a pop. Normally with airsoft pistols, you're looking like $30, $35. You know, they're gas magazines, so they're going to be a lot more expensive than your AEG mags for your ARs. But it is $50 for these mags. You can get them on eBay. You can get this replica, I believe, on Amazon. I'll put a link down below to this actual replica so that you can go and buy that from Amazon if you want to. Weirdly, you can buy it in a lot of on Amazon, but it will only ship to certain states, and I think that is by law. You can't buy this in other countries without having it in a weird color in the UK, and it will come with an orange tip, as all of these will in here. So great things for this. It's a great all-around pistol. It's probably the most popular pistol in airsoft, which I've said. There are a ton of upgrades that you can do to these, not as much as some of these others. But you can buy aftermarket slides, you can buy different triggers, you can do lots and lots of stuff with them. For this one, I've done a different inner barrel. I've left it as a stock trigger. I've actually put one of the Falcon grips on here. They do a version which is for the Gen 4s, so it has this kind of cutouts there for the finger grooves. And then this is actually quite a cool little thing. They have this which goes into the indents of the actual Glock slide, and you're wondering what does that do. It actually just gives you more actual grip to hold on to. So it means when I rack this slide, it's super easy to do it. Obviously if you're doing different forms of actually racking the slide, it's not going to work as well, but I actually really liked that. I decided to try it out, and I have to say It's great. I don't normally run this pistol though, so my experience with this is not quite the same as the others, but I would say it's very, very snappy. It's got this kind of recoil and slide lock. You can see there, it's got the off-canter kind of barrel here. Off-canter? I'm thinking of the wrong name. What I really like as well is it doesn't really have a safety. It's got the Glock safe trigger. So when you've got it racked, if I try and push that without indenting that middle bit, this will let it fire, that won't. And so I quite like that. If you've forgotten or you're slow to take your safety off, you don't have that issue with any of the Glock models, which I really like. Mag capacity on this is 20 rounds, so it's kind of average. You know, it's going to be fine, but it's not going to be as high capacity in mags than other ones. It will not fit Glock 19 mags because they are a shorter hand grip. It will fit the Glock 18 mags, the extended. So if you want to, it'd look a bit weird and be very unwieldy compared to, you know, what you're probably going to use it as, but that means that you can technically run a 50 round mag in it if you really want to. So really like it. That is the first one we're going to talk through, which was the Glock 17 Gen 4 by Elite Force. Next, we're going to go into something which is a little bit different, and you probably recognize what this is. It is a Desert Eagle. Now, I think this thing is so cool. Obviously, it is a very, very iconic looking pistol. Anyone who sees it, who knows firearms, is going to know straight away that this is a Desert Eagle. Sorry, George is barking there. George! There we go. This is a Desert Eagle. It is just an incredibly iconic looking pistol. This one is from Tokyo Marui, and it is what they call their hard kick version. Now, it is more expensive than actually the Glock 17 that we just looked at. I can't remember, don't know why I can't say that. It's more expensive at $180, and the mags on this are actually cheaper. So the mags are $40, not $50. Mags are going to be for a Desert Eagle, so it's not going to be like a Glock mag that you can use in a huge amount of pistols. And the thing with this is that it actually is entirely plastic polymer. It's not got a metal body or a metal slide like a real steel does, like the WE one does. But it's Tokyo Marui, and Tokyo Marui built an absolutely incredible product. And I would say just holding this thing, it just feels very solid. It feels heavy because obviously it's a big pistol. To give you some gauge of size, like that is the 17, which is the full size Glock, and that is the Desert Eagle. So you can see it's quite significantly bigger. Like you've got an extra inch on the barrel there, and it's just a lot more chunky. Like I've got big hands, as I said. I can't wrap my fingers the entire way around, but shooting this thing is so satisfying. The safety on it's your classic Desert Eagle safety. So the big thing I think with this is the recoil. Obviously it looks cool. If you're using it and you're playing with it, people are going to be like, wow, that's a Desert Eagle. And it looks cool, but the recoil on this is pretty awesome. So I'll show you that. Slides really cool there. You've got an adjustable hop up, which is with this little thing flicks up, and you can adjust the hop up there, which I think is great. The slide when it releases is really like hard. Let me do that there. These are all not real firearms and they are empty, so when I'm firing these, they're not actually firing any BBs. This is the slide lock on it. So you can see there my hand, it's kicking back, and the actual motion of this when you're firing it, like it's really, really nice. Like not expecting anything like a real steel kick from a Desert Eagle, but it's got a big kick to it. So I really love this thing. Probably the downsides are that it's heavy and big. So if you're wanting to use it, the holster is going to have to be a specific big holster for this. It's not really going to be like a universal holster that's going to fit this. And it's going to be like if it's on your leg or on your hip, it's going to be big, and it's going to be, you know, if you're running, it's going to be swinging around. But I have to say, I really, really love this pistol. It's a great thing to have in your collection, but it might be one of those ones which is for outdoor plinking or sits on your desk or in your cupboard because you may not be using it. Again, this comes with a orange tip, and it is 27 round mag capacity, so you've got an extra 7 rounds compared to that Glock 17, and it's just a really, really cool pistol. It's got the actual hammer release. The thing with it, actually, the hammer priming, the thing with it is that realistically, that's not going to load a BB in because it's not an actual firearm where the BB's in there. So if you put the mag in there with BBs and you do this, that's not going to release a BB the first time. It's going to actually just kind of like have it in that situation, and then you're going to have to fire it the second time, and then it loads the BB in. But yeah, that is the Tokyo Marui Desert Eagle Hard Kick for $180. This is a really underlooked pistol, or like a pistol that I never see people have. Again, it's from Tokyo Marui, so it's all plastic. And this one is called their USP Compact. I can show you it there. Now, this is licensed, or sorry, it has the licensing on it, but it's actually unlicensed by Tokyo Marui. So this one they've got the licensing for, so they sell it in the US. You can pick it up on Evike. This one, however, they just decided to slap the licensing on it, and they didn't actually pay for any licensing deal with H&K. So if you're going to get this, you really have to ship it from another country. Usually Hong Kong is where I've got mine from. JK Army, KY Airsoft, Octagon. There's a few of them. If you want to know more, put them down below. But this thing is very, very cool. It's like one of those unique pistols that, yeah, you don't see. It's a really ergonomic pistol. It's small and compact. Like you can see, it's a pretty like tight pistol. But actually where these mags are, they've kind of got that lip on them. And I actually think it just fits really well. As I said, I've got bigger hands, and that for me is perfect. It kind of sits a little bit into my palm, but in terms of my fingers there, it feels kind of like a full-size pistol. The trigger guard is huge on it, so you've got that where you can fit any fingers like glove-wise in there. It's $160, so this is going to be your more expensive, well, not more expensive, it's going to be an average priced gas blowback. It's full plastic because it's Tokyo Marui, and these are built really for duster gas. So this will fire with green gas, but it probably isn't going to last as long as something like the Elite Force, which is built for green gas. So just bear that in mind. You may have to replace some parts, etc. Speaking of which, this isn't going to be hugely customizable as well. Like it's a pistol that many people don't use. So therefore, it's not going to be one that you're seeing a lot of aftermarket parts for. But I think it's really cool. The main things that I think are very cool on it is this safety. Basically here. So if I've got that there, the trigger will pull, but it won't actually release the slide. If I pull that, you can hear here, it's got a dual action trigger, and it's going to basically allow me to shoot. Then I can flick this safety up. So that for me, it's really easy to do it. It's just a really easy, like bang, 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 bang with your thumb. So I really, really like that about it. Obviously it's compact. It's very snappy, even though the trigger's not great. When it's in the lock position, it's kind of like the Glock where it's got some take up, and then it's got that there. It's got that kind of offset barrel again. Then if you haven't got it wrapped, you can't really get to the hammer. It does have a hammer, but you can't get your thumb in there to actually prime it. So it's got this dual stage trigger. So you're pushing it there. It will lock the hammer back slightly, and then a full pull is going to make it fire and lock the slide if it's empty, like mine is now. Yeah, so great little pistol. Performance on this is really good. Anything Tokyo Marui generally, I would say, is a really, really good performance. Obviously, they're plastic, but in terms of firing the BB, accuracy, range, it's really cool. You've got your little, a serial number down below there. Other thing is the mag release is this little tab here. Again, I don't knock it, so I think it's good. I probably prefer a regular Glock style mag release there, but I literally just have to push this here. I'm going to show you here when it goes down. So I just push that there and it goes in, clicks in really easily. Mag is solid in there. Unfortunately, the mag capacity is not huge. You've got 15 rounds, but you're going to give up mag capacity with that size of grip. So, you know, it's give and take, I think, for a lot of these. But this I've actually used in a few games, and I actually just really like it. If you're used to kind of Glock ergonomics, It's great. Obviously, it's got a different safety. It's got a different trigger. It's got a different mag release, but it just feels very natural in my hands. And so that is another one that I really like. Mags on that are costing $35. So it's your standard mag price. Next one you can probably recognize just from looking at the back here. This is an Action Army AAPO1. One of the most popular pistols out there. It's not milsim really, and you're not going to see a lot of milsimmers running it, but a lot of people absolutely love this thing, and it's a fantastic pistol. The big draw I think for it, one of the big draws for it, is that this is very cheap. This is not a stock one. I've done a lot of upgrades to this, so that actual body is pretty stock. Trigger's different, the bolt's different. You can put this on, that comes with it, so the actual rail is stock. But out of the box, it's $100. And so for $100, you're getting an airsoft pistol that is great performance. It'll hop .32s, the accuracy is really good. It will fire semi and full auto, so you've got that option as well. So I think already that kind of makes it amazing. But really the other thing is that it's so upgradable. So many people run this as a speed soft gun, as you know, you can HPA tap it if you want to. They have completely different bodies you can do. They have so many different actual bolts. Like this is an aftermarket lightweight bolt that I've got in here. Tons of different things that you can do. And so if you want one pistol that you can turn into everything and anything, this is probably one of them. So as I said, $100 is the actual base gun. It comes with a magazine, but your magazines are going to be I think $30. I think it's $31 right now if you want to get these magazines. They're Glock magazines for 17. So this will work in this Glock 17. And it will obviously, so it'll take those mags, it'll work in those. These I don't think are as good as the Glock mags, but they're $31, not your $50, so almost half the price. They haven't got any of the Glock branding on them, so you know that probably isn't a big deal for most people. But I think it's pretty crazy, yeah. So I've got a hair trigger on this thing. It's the unbelievable upgrades, I think, is the big thing, and the price is probably the big thing. Again, it's going to be the same mag capacity, so you've got 20 rounds in there. I've got this at the moment with as I said, lightweight bolt. This actually gives me selection of full auto or semi-auto right there. On the stock one, you just actually have under there you have a little switch like that, so you can't actually just switch it on the outside, which is kind of annoying. You need to retract it, put it in. Internally for this, I've put that in. I've also got an extended barrel inside this suppressor. I think this looks quite cool, but I think a lot of these are hit or miss. Some people really like them. Some people are like, you know what, I don't like the look of it. It's kind of like a German Luger style pistol kind of look. But I don't know. I didn't like it when I first saw it, but actually after kind of playing around with it, I really liked it. That's probably about it for this one. I'll show you the recoil. I've got a hair trigger on here, an aftermarket one. So you'll see here, that's the slide lock there, slide release. Just get my head out of the way. And then I've literally got no take up on this trigger. So it will literally just fire like that. It's not getting slide lock at the moment. I've actually just got the thing a bit, I've got it to a point now where it's tuned where I don't actually need slide lock on this, or I don't want it, because I'll run it with an HPA adapter most of the time just for high rate of fire. But that is your super snappy semi-auto. And then if I switch it to auto, I'll just give you an idea of this, and this is pretty crazy. Like that actually had a little lock up the slide there. But that's where the full auto is going to be firing. I need to play around with the internals on this, obviously. And that's empty gas. So you can tell there the rate of fire is pretty crazy. It's a pistol. And so that's why I think a lot of people love to run it as kind of like a primary. If you're a speedsoft player, you may just go around like this with an HPA adapter. You can run the 18C mags in it. You know, there's so much content on this thing that probably me talking about it for a while isn't that valuable to you guys. So that's the AAPO1, another thing in my collection. I do have some other versions of this, and there is another video if you want to go and check it out, where I've got a carbine version, I've got a little PDW version, I've got this. So go and have a look at that. Now this is another one from Tokyo Marui. We're on the third one by Tokyo Marui today, and there are two more. So again, you think, I'm a Tokyo Marui fanboy. It is absolutely the case. This is the Tokyo Marui Glock 26. Again, this is another one where Tokyo Marui decided to put all the branding on there, but never actually got the licensing from Glock. So you can't really buy this one in the US, and you have to import it. And the risk that you run with these unlicensed ones are, if customs stop them coming into the US, you can be in real trouble. Or not real trouble, they'll send it back. Or they'll just stop it from going in. So you are going to run that risk with these, and you know, I think it's worth it just trying to get it in, and I haven't actually had too many issues, but you will have things like they'll put little black tape over the Glock symbols so those aren't showing up. Now this is completely stock, other than the fact that I've put again, Falcon Grips, like little textured grip like sticker on the outside. I think that just gives me a little bit more grip. Again, I've got bigger hands, so you'd think it didn't fit me that well, but the mags actually come with this lip on them where they actually have that kind of ability to like stick your smaller finger, your little finger on there. So yeah, so it's super compact. The one thing as well with this one is you could run it as a concealed carry. I've always thought about that. I've actually got another Tokyo Marui that I like doing that with. But if you're playing a milsim game and obviously like, you know, you get captured or whatever it is and they search you, take away your weapons, you could very easily slide this in somewhere inside your plate carrier, wherever it is, and they wouldn't really know it's there. So as a concealed carry and as something where you can hide it and they're not going to know about it, this works perfectly. It is a double stack mag, so it's not a super thin like Glock, like I think the 43 is. But that also means you're going to get more rounds in it. I actually use this as my primary as my secondary main, my main secondary I'd use for most things for a while. My big thing is actually because I would use my primary and I'd be running around on the outside and playing, I would love the idea that if I went into a building, just having a super compact pistol, like this is the length of my finger pretty much. So it's almost like when you're going around, it feels like you're just pointing and shooting. It's just like, okay. It's like so easy to get around corners. And the performance on this is really good. Again, it's plastic slide because it's Tokyo Marui, built for dust to gas. Green gas will work in it, but may not last the longest. But I can hop 0.32 BBs in this. You'd think, oh wait, you know, it's a very small plastic Glock. I put 0.32 BBs in it and the range on it is really good. So it's great performance. I think some people probably are like, oh, it's a tiny little Glock. You know, it's probably not the most manly pistol that you could run around with. But I think it's great. Price-wise on this is $134. These mags are actually $35, so standard Glock mag price. One thing that actually you can also do is run different Glock magazines in it. So what I would normally do with mine is I would have that compact mag in there, but actually in my pistol mag pouch, I would just have some of the regular Glock mags because they fit in that mag pouch and it meant I could pull them easier and it just gave me extra mag capacity. Because that, in terms of the mag capacity on this, is, what are we looking at? 15 rounds, not 20. So you could even, if you want to, run a 50 round mag in here and you'd be absolutely fine. It would look ridiculous. And I actually did a short about that, but it's something that you could do technically. Things I don't like about this is, number one, the trigger. Like if you are racking this, the trigger doesn't move. So it doesn't go into that like inner Glock position where you know that the action is racked and ready to go. So the trigger pull is not great. And so I'll show you here quickly. That's where it's going to go there. It's very, very snappy, very short slide, very light slide. But I hate that it does that and doesn't go in. So if I'm firing it fast, it's going to be easy to fire because my finger's on the trigger, but that's not great. It also has a safety under here. So this thing is a little like, it's the actual serial number, but as you can see, I slide it and that puts a safety on so you can't pull the trigger. Now, I think it's the most pointless thing because I never use it because you also have the Glock style safety. So it's pointless, you never use it, but again, it's something where I'm like, I don't know why they've put it on there. Mags, again, fit really snug. You can customize this, but there aren't a huge amount of parts out there for it. You know, it's not like there's the same as something with an AAPO1 for sure, or even like a standard Glock. A lot of people don't run them, and it's different and cool looking, in my opinion. Also, I think there's no Picatinny slide under here, so it's a lot harder to run lights on. But I love it. I think it's a really, really cool little pistol. Again, it's something different for your collection. If you're thinking I want something a little bit different, that one's great. Another Tokyo Marui. This is, again, very recognizable. Up until the AAPO1, and it's probably in line with the AAPO1, if not more popular now, is the Tokyo Marui Hi-Capa. This is the 5.1. It is $160 with $35 mags. Again, mags are compatible if you're putting it across different kinds of Hi-Capas, and so many people have this. Very popular in your Speedsoft world, because people really like how snappy this thing is. I mean, it's a very cool looking pistol. It is your like 2011 instead of your 1911 style pistol. So like a 1911 with a double stack mag, slightly wider. But this pistol really is, you know, the pistol in Airsoft, I would say, for most people. Milsim wise, people run it. Speedsoft wise, people run it. You can get an HPA adapter in here. However, again, it's plastic slide, and it's not going to run probably as long as something with your metal stuff in. And so there are so many different upgrades you can do on this, different slides you can get, different bodies you can get. People like to turn them all different kinds of colors. I'm not really that kind of guy, so I haven't done any different colors on mine, but it is something you can easily do. And so if you're thinking about a really customizable pistol, probably the AAPO1 or this Hi-Capa are two really great options. And I would say the Tokyo Marui base, because there are a lot of retailers now, or sorry, manufacturers that have copied this, done their different versions of it. But I always say stick with Tokyo Marui and you're going to be very happy. So this is probably it's a great recommendation. I don't play with it that often, just because I like my Glock style more. You know, I'm boring. But again, it's something that's great. So as I said, I think this is $160, so it's a more expensive pistol with $35 mags. In terms of things, it's super customizable, loved by Speedsofters. It's got the classic look. It's a 31 round mag, so you've got great mag capacity in this thing. These fit so snug in here. Like it's weird where it kind of has this like nice resistance to it as it goes in. So very satisfying to reload this. Makes that kind of clack as well. I don't know. It's just a very, very satisfying pistol. As I said, very snappy. It's got that 1911 style trigger. So that's the slide lock there. That is me firing it. Running out of gas. On gas, this is a great gas to use, especially if you're running those Tokyo Maruis. No silicon, so it's kind of like a propane, and it's 110 PSI. So they have their little scale of PSI there. This is on their lower end. So it's going to be probably better for a pistol where it's just going to increase the longevity of it. And you're not using super hot gas, especially in something like this where it's a plastic slide. So great pistol. The cooldown on these is really good. You're not waiting for a while for the mag to heat up. So that's great. It's got the beaver tail style safety there, and it's got your standard thumb safety as well. So if I do this, you've got that flicks up, flicks down in your thumb position. So very easy to take it off safe. What else? It is... yeah, I think it's great performance. That's probably it. So that is the Tokyo Marui Hi-Capa. It also comes in a 4.3, and you can also get it in a full auto only version, which is the Extreme, I think, in silver. You can get these in silver and in black. So that might be another one that if you're thinking about customizability, it's good. Now, this is one of my favorites. Again, it is such an iconic looking gun. This is probably most recognizable from Metal Gear Solid. Again, it's Tokyo Marui. It's plastic. When I first started watching content of YouTubers, of Airsoft YouTubers, this was so popular, mainly because so many of the YouTube Airsofters that I would watch would be sniper Airsofters. And this thing is unbelievably quiet. Now, it does not have a reciprocating slide. It's not gas blowback. It is gas, and it takes your large, kind of chunky Mark 23 magazines, and the entire thing without the magazine, like, it's very front heavy. Like, if you've got the suppressor on, if you've got this LAM unit on, it's very, very heavy. But with that in there, front heavy, it feels very balanced. And I think it's just a very, very cool looking pistol. The price on this one's $140, and it is $35 mags. Again, it's not licensed, so they didn't pay for the licensing. They've literally got like US government on there. They've got obviously the H&K actual markings on it, US government markings on it. This LAM unit's really cool. It's not the brightest torch, but you've got basically two pushes here. One is like a temporary, and then one is a full on. So that's temporary flash. And then there's a full on where you just have that engaged. It's annoying if you have it. These are fake lasers here. They don't actually have a laser. It's annoying if you leave it on because it's just going to die with battery, and it's pretty easy to flick on. So that's something to bear in mind. But it's a big pistol. Like, it's a very large thing to hold. Probably not quite as big as the Desert Eagle, but it is big. You've got this here where you can just pull that back, and that actually will allow you to fire the BB there. So that is me actually not putting it on. Sorry, that's not true. That's not going to allow you to fire the BB. You do need to rack this. This is the sound. So it is actually, no, that is right. Tell me in the comments, actually. I think when I retract that hammer, it does actually allow me to load the BB, but it's just such a cool sound. It's like that silenced. And so a lot of sniper YouTubers would use this because it was so quiet. Like, if you had someone nearby you and you were trying to stay hidden and camouflaged, just having this instead of having like a loud one, like one of these, then it would really allow you to hold in your position. You can absolutely use it. Like, this silencer is just going to add some sound elements to it. Obviously, it's not gas blowback, so you haven't got a slide lock. So once you're out of BBs, you're going to have to just realize that you're not doing it. See how much louder that is? Like, you can tell the difference. So that suppressor does do something for sure. And actually, if you remove the suppressor and the LAM unit, you just need to screw this here and it comes off. It's a lot more standard looking. But if you were a guy who played Metal Gear Solid, or you know what Metal Gear Solid is, this has just got so much nostalgia value to it. That I think it's a stunning piece of kit, this pistol. So it's incredibly quiet, no recoil on it, which I think is good for accuracy. Snipers use it a lot. It is large and bulky, especially when you've got the suppressor and the LAM unit on it. It's unlicensed, so you have to import it. Again, you run that risk of it getting taken by customs. The other thing is it's incredibly hard to find. I managed to get this on a site, but if you go on a lot of airsoft sites abroad, they're sold out everywhere, and they're very, very popular, even though I don't see as many people using them anymore unless they're in that sniper role. If you're in a sniper role, you can probably kind of keep this concealed easier than if you're running around with it, playing a more assault kind of assault role or LMG role, just because it is, you're not moving around as much, so you can keep it in that way. I think a lot of snipers run it without the LAM unit on it as well. The other thing that I think is really cool is it comes in a plastic hard case with its separate kind of like suppressor LAM unit, so you kind of build it and put it together. The best airsoft packaging, even from Tokyo Marui, I've probably seen. So if you get it, it's very, very satisfying to unbox it. The other thing that I think is really weird is that these magazines, even though you can't buy this, it's unlicensed, you can buy the magazines on Evike, so a US retailer, and it does have branding on the magazines. As you can maybe see there, it's got H&K like logo on the bottom. So I presume that's the same on the Evike ones. I don't think I've bought one from Evike, but I was quite surprised that you could get the mags but not actually get the pistol, even though on the normal mags it does have branding. So if you've bought one from Evike and it doesn't have the branding, I'd be interested to know. But yeah, it's a very, very cool pistol. Again, I think it's just something which a lot of people would just love to have in their collection. So that's one of my favorites. And my favorite in terms of my go-to is this one. I've made a couple of videos about it. It is the Glock 45 Gen 5 by Elite Force again. When I've gone to Evike before, gone to their Alhambra store and spoken to people there, to the people that work there, I have said before, like, what is the best performing pistol that's out there? And they have said, look, it's the Elite Force Glock. Whether you're getting the 19, the 17, the 45, which is this one, it's just incredibly snappy. The performance on it is great. So therefore, I've got a few of these. Let's put it that way. The 45, in terms of how different it is it's the full-size Glock 17 grip with a Glock 19, the more compact Glock style rail or length rail. I really like the shortness, as you can probably tell with my Glock 26, of the actual slide being like that, especially when it's airsoft, where the performance is not going to be affected that much. If you want to run a suppressor on it, it's easier. But for me, the actual grip of the 19 is too short. So with this, I get best of both worlds. I get a big grip with better mag capacity, and I get that shorter barrel length. So I haven't got one of these real steel, but actually I've thought about that a lot. It's like, if I'm going to get another pistol, I would probably get one of these. Again, super customizable. With this one, I've put a different trigger in it. I've put a different hop and barrel in it. I've got this slide, which is RMR cut, which is how I've got this SRO on it. This is from Boom Arms. It's expensive. I think it's like $150 just for the slide. And the cost of this is actually cheaper than the Glock 17. You can get it for $138, and the mags are the same mags. They are the Glock mags, so you're spending $50 a mag. As again, it's the same. It's got that kind of curved little gas router there. So I think that's what gives it a better seal. But performance-wise, I absolutely love this thing. And so this is my go-to on nearly every single game that I go and play. I've got another version of this, which has a suppressor, a tracer suppressor on it, which I'll use indoors. But this one, I've got a real SRO on it. So that's like a $700 sight. This is a real TLR 8G from Streamlight. And that actually has a green laser. You can see that there. It's got a green laser and a flashlight. Very easy to put that on and off. So for me, this basically gives me everything. And when I've actually got the trigger out, you can see here, like, that is no movement on the trigger. So I've got that on the wall, and then it's got really good recoil. So if I'm firing this thing, this is a great. The mag capacity is 20. It's got great gas capacity and doesn't need to run out of that. As I said, 20 round. It's licensed, so this licensing actually kind of makes sense. So that's my go-to. So if there is one where you're like, hey, Badger, or 6mm, what is your favorite pistol that you have? It's going to be the Glock 45 from Elite Force. In terms of usability, obviously it's pretty standard. People are going to see it. They're probably not going to notice it different from the 19 or the 17 Glocks. But I like the 5 because it doesn't have the grips. I just like how it feels in my hand a lot more. So yeah, again, customizable. You can do pretty much anything to it. It's got the Picatinny rail, so you can mount stuff. They are doing a new version, I believe, now, which has got the MOS, like RMR cut slide here. So that might be worth waiting for, just so then you don't have to buy another slide to do what I've done here. A way to tell it also is that they've got the serrations for cocking on the front as well as on the rear, and that's on the 45. Very similar dimensions to a 19. 19's got a slightly different magwell. This has got a flared magwell, but it's got a different kind of magwell with a little sling mount here, or what do you call it? Yeah, sling. No, retention cable mount. So if you want to not drop it and you still want that ability to pick it up, it's just going to have like a little coil there so you don't lose it. 19 though only comes in FDE, which I like for my SIG pistols. I don't necessarily like it for a Glock. Glock for me is black. Like that's how they look. And as I said, I think price on this one's 138, mags are 50. So that runs through some of my secondary pistol collection. I hope this video has been useful to you guys. I know there's probably going to be a huge amount of questions that you'll want to ask, so just put them in the comments below. If you're watching this live and you're in the chat, appreciate you being here. And I'll be back very, very soon with another video. So I hope you guys stay well, and I'll see you very soon.